At least 8 people were killed and more than 13 people are injured after a rental truck hit cyclists and pedestrians on a bike path along the West Side Highway in Manhattan on October 31st, 2017, with witness also saying the driver shot a firearm at people after the crash. US President Donald Trump tweeted that the immigration process should be more restrictive.
At the scene of the deadliest terror attack in New York City since September 11th, we're waiting on a news conference expected to start 2 hours from now from the New York City Police and the FBI. But this morning we are getting new details on the suspect, a 29-year-old Uzbek national shot and wounded by police after he drove his truck down a bike path on the west side of the city. CNN has learned the man has been charged with, he's now talking with police and the FBI at the hospital where he had surgery. We also know that in addition to the note he left at the scene, in which he declared his allegiance to ISIS, he also apparently trafficked in materials regarding ISIS online. There was news from the governor of New York, important news, right here on CNN's New Day, who said that this killer was radicalized inside the U.S.
He is a depraved coward, is what he is. He was associated with ISIS, and he was radicalized domestically. And he's a depraved coward.
That is incredibly important. I'm Poppy Harlow down here, just about a block and a half away from the deadliest terror attack in this great city, our city of New York, since 9/11. What the governor said just there is critically important, as John noted, that this terrorist was radicalized domestically, this 29-year-old Uzbek national. And what is most important that we remember this morning are the victims. 8 people murdered, innocent lives taken less than 24 hours ago, 11 people injured, some critically still in the hospital at this hour. There are many, many questions, very few answers at this point, but we have learned that the suspect is talking, being somewhat cooperative with authorities. What will he say? That will give them more information as to what drove him to this and how he was radicalized here in the United States at some point in the last 7 years. Let's get straight to our Jean Casares, who is also down here at the scene. And Jean, let's just begin with what we know and what we don't know at this point.
Well, Poppy, what we know is that the primary crime scene is behind us about a block and a half away, and it remains closed today. The truck that the suspect rented yesterday, law enforcement say hours before the attack, is still there. Why? Because it's a crime scene. You know, the fact is this suspect is alive. So the crime scene processing is taking place in the advent of charges, a criminal investigation leading to criminal charges. And we're learning more about the hero officer that was patrolling the area, saw this suspect get out of his truck, brandishing what was believed 2 weapons, and he shot him in the abdomen. His name is Ryan Nash. He was an NYPD officer there at the scene, just happened to be patrolling, and he is the one that did not kill him but shot him seriously, so he had to have emergency surgery last night. And finally, Poppy, we are learning more about the victims. We have just learned minutes ago that there are actually 13 people injured in this attack. That is not including the suspect. They are at Bellevue Hospital and New York Presbyterian this morning, and their conditions range from fair to critical. Poppy?
And Jean, we know of the 8 that were murdered. I mean, when I saw last night in the first pictures those bikes that so many New Yorkers and tourists rent, just scattered there along the West Side Highway,